Hello, welcome to ZSR2. We've got another NMG League race here, brought to you by Drossi and Concision. I'll let them go ahead and take it away. Thanks, folks.
Hey, welcome everyone. We have the finals for the Desert Palace division here in CSR League. Both of these runners are 2-0. One will finish 3-0 and get to pick a charity for the admins to donate to.
That's right. We have Chexhuman and retrommel racing today. Two really good speedrunners. They're both fairly consistent runners. They both like to finish out runs, and so which should help when it comes to a race situation like this. So I think we should be in for a really good race today.
Yeah, and after all, they both got themselves this far. I'd probably give Chex a bit of an edge, but certainly you
Yep,
never know
agreed.
what's going to happen
You
here.
certainly never know in a race situation what's going to happen.
Looks like we're a
We
bit out of sync, though.
just a few seconds. Yep. At least on my feed. Well, it, it's hard to say. I guess it's possible one of them started later than the other one, but
Well, I'm
on
seeing
our
their
end it looks
timers,
like
and the
yeah,
timers are
correct.
about 3 seconds off.
Yeah, it's possible Czech started late, for example, but yeah, Retro's timer shows that he started 2 seconds earlier, according to the feed that we see. So unclear if that's a video sync or if Czech did start a couple seconds late. It could happen. So we're making our way through the escape portion of the run. This is the first segment. It's sort of the tutorial for the game, and there's not really too many places here for big disasters or major time losses. There's a few small RNGs that we'll have to deal with, but otherwise, these runners should be able to get through here, around the same time.
Yeah, and we get to see their splits, so it looks like Retro has a slightly better best escape and escape in his PB than Chex does.
Yep. Both going for an 8/, strategy, which is very common at these levels. The other strategy is to grab one or two of the pots from the left or the center sort of cell there.
But yeah. Yeah, if you can do the 8 slashes without getting hit, that's definitely faster.
Yeah, so I think you can probably tink maybe once and it's still just as fast, if not a little bit faster.
Yeah. It's mostly the knockback at that point that costs you time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this segment is all about really just clean movement through these rooms, and then basically just executing the few rooms that we do have to sort of deal with in a smooth way.
Yeah, and you just have to remember that this isn't rando. Don't open every chest.
That's true. I don't think Retro plays a lot of rando. I know that Chex plays a lot of like no logic and all sorts of things.
Yeah, Chex is usually glitching all over the place, so I guess in his case he needs to
Exactly.
remember not to do any major glitches here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even in vanilla, he does a number of runs that aren't NMG.
True. Yeah. No. Chex is runs lots of categories in the speed run.
Yeah.
All sorts of glitch classifications.
And if we adjust for their timers, Chex is actually slightly ahead just because Retro took those couple of hits.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, no, I was just thinking we should talk about how these runners got here, because I believe you got to play against Retro? Or you
No, I
play
played against
Chex?
Chex.
Okay,
Yep.
I knew you had played one of them.
Yep. Chex beat me, so that's
Chex
why
beat
he's here.
you in Tam,
Yep.
and Retro then beat Meowski in Homemade Beer. Does that sound right?
That sounds right. But I was going to say, even though it looks like Retro's timer is a couple of seconds ahead, and if Fox is still there, maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that the race works is it's just based off of, real wall clock time. So if Chex did start 2 seconds late, he doesn't get those 2 seconds back. It's just whoever crosses the finish line first is going to win.
Though if he PBs, it would be based off of his in-game time.
That's true, certainly.
We haven't really seen too many PBs in this season of League. I remember, like, 1 or 2 seasons ago, it seemed like people were PBing every other race.
There's been a handful, but I think it has to do with how many newer runners you have in League. And there's several this season, but I think there were more last season.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, Fox says we have 8
Fox
PBs
says 8.
this
Okay,
season.
thank you, Fox, for that information. Wow, I had no idea. That's really awesome, because that's one of my favorite things about League, is seeing all these people get to set new PBs just because they're playing so often.
Absolutely. So now we're heading towards Eastern Palace, the first real dungeon of the game. Both our runners picked up the Sanctuary Heart Container, the cheapest and one of the best safeties in the game. Costs about 3 seconds, gets you a heart container.
Yeah, especially when you're doing it as a competition,
Yes.
You'd have to be feeling really gutsy to not take it. Because a death is just so costly.
Yes, deaths are very costly in this game. So it looks like pretty good overworlds from both runners. A little kerfuffle on Chex's side, but certainly nothing major. 3.5 hearts is pretty comfy. Coming up here, we're going to have the first real, what we call speedrun strat that we see. We sort of walk funny into this next Stalfos room to cause these spawns to overlap with this pot in a funny way. And then we throw a pot at a soon-to-spawn Stalfos, and we get out of the room.
And also only spawning 2 Stalfos instead of the 4 the room is supposed to spawn.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So one of them spawns right over that pot that's still there, and it just dies instantly, actually.
Blew my mind when I started following speedruns and rando that, oh, you can get only 2 Stalfos to spawn in that room?
Oh, I know. And it's definitely a trick that everyone knows. It's just sort of standard part of playing the game at this point, but it's really neat.
Yeah. Oh. Chex boomerang the Stalfos and then got hit by it anyway.
Then coming up, we have another, our first real sequence break, I guess, of the game. We're going to just take a deboost here, pick up this pot, and hit that switch without having to kill all the enemies in the room, which normally causes those anti-fairies to disperse.
Yeah, and as you can see from both runners, they actually did it optimally. 1.5 hearts is the minimum amount of health you can lose there.
That's right. Okay, so we have our bow, which we'll use throughout the rest of the run, but we'll lean on it quite heavily for the rest of this dungeon in particular.
And the next one with the landmill fight.
That's true.
Got to keep our ammunition up.
That is a good point. It's really the first part of this game where resource management starts to play into it. We want to leave this dungeon with a decent number of arrows. We're going to get 20 more that are basically free in Desert Palace, but Any that we can have leaving this dungeon, we love to see.
Oh, yeah, Chex definitely had a bit of a cleaner room there. The Stalfos kind of got away from Retro.
Yeah, that's just an RNG that you have to sort of deal with.
And they both get the same drops, resulting in entering this room on exactly 27 arrows.
Yep.
And Retro
lost an arrow somewhere.
Right. Well, you saw one of Retro's arrows sticking into the wall there at the end. He
okay,
overshot
got it. I actually missed that.
Oh,
okay,
yeah. But there are enough places to get arrows in Desert, and you're not really using them until you get to Lanmos.
That's true. Now we're going to turn in our green pendant and get the best item in the game, the Pegasus boots.
Everyone loves their boots.
Love to go fast. Really, the boots, I think, are the reason why I love speedrunning this game, and like the reason why I got into it. I just love the dashing mechanic.
You only have to suffer through 11.5 minutes without them.
Exactly. But I just love the mechanic of, like, you can go fast as long as you're just going in one direction. And then, like, you can sort of use slopes to sort of, cheat out a little bit, but not in too many places.
And it's always amazing to see how easy the top speedrunners make it look getting spin speed, which we saw both runners do leaving Saha's hut.
Yeah, it's just a purely sort of muscle memory trick. You charge a spin, and then when you release it, you press A, which is the dash button for... Or you press it one frame after you release the spin. So you just sort of glide your thumb over. But it's a real feel-based trick, I would say. But it always feels good to get those first couple spin speeds at the start of the run.
And then one of the other possible ways that muscle memory could screw up a rando player is if you forget that you have to go the long way around to get to the marsh and then to the desert because you don't yet have the gloves.
Both of our runners using a menu here to read this dash line that skirts just by this water. Dashing through the shallow water is slower than dashing over dry land, so it's a good place to menu.
Very nice dash lines there, just avoiding that cactus for both runners.
Mm-hmm. All right, and Chex enters desert about 6 or 7 seconds ahead of Retro.
Yeah, again, getting the dash line set up so that you're as far left as possible without being pushed back by the wall.
So in this dungeon, we grab a small key so we can get a big key so we can get our power gloves, or whatever they're called in this game.
I think that was a Nintendo accessory, but yes, I think it is also called the power glove here.
Good point. Chex with a good read of those cannonballs having to stop. Retro with a pretty similar RNG. Retro not quite getting the timing he expected on the dash out.
And slowly refilling our arrows. That's enough to get through the Landmo fight, certainly.
We'll get 10 more.
Pick up more, yeah.
In this room, and then we'll be done. These arrows are all pretty much directly on the way, so we grab them.
Yes, but by the way, speaking of the name of the glove, literally the first word in the Japanese there says "power."
Oh, nice. Okay, so we see no Desert 2 spin speed from Chex. Very reliable sort of strat. Same with Retro. Both runners, I think, for being pretty high level runners, do a lot of pretty safe strats and just very reliable runners.
Yeah. Chex managed to avoid getting hit by the Beamos there, but it cost him some time being a little off trying to push the block first, so he then had to duck out of the way.
Both runners getting pretty good RNG in the Popo Genocide room.
Yeah, there are definitely a few Popo kill rooms here in Desert. I guess only 2, but still.
Yep, only 2.
Feels like we have to kill a lot of them.
And with this, we'll be entering the Lambo fights. This is one of the most challenging fights to do quickly in the game. There's no sort of set quick kill for this fight. It's just about anticipating what the Lambos are going to do.
And their movement can be all over the place, but both of our
Trying to
runners
get 4 arrows in each one.
in a bit of trouble. Yeah, 4 arrows or sometimes just slash away and try to get in hits that way.
Yep, arrows do twice as much damage as slashes here, so we try and lean on them, but you can certainly use slashes when you can't get the arrow in otherwise.
And what was that, about a 4 cycle for Retro, and Chex is on about the 7th cycle, I think?
I'm honestly not sure. I was trying to flip my eyes back and forth between them.
Well, they both like showing off their boomerang there during the pendant grab scene.
Yeah, Chex not probably happy with this fight. He was ahead of PB, and now he lost about 18 seconds off of PB, so that's about a 3 cycle loss. So
well, and he also used 21 arrows, which means that at least 9 of them missed. Whereas Retro only used 15 arrows, so
true.
Much more efficient with his aim.
All right, Retro successfully manages to get the fake flippers wet. Both of our runners getting hit by this electric jelly. Chex gets the fake flippers as well. So that's a minor glitch where we can swim without actually having the flippers, just to take that whirlpool to get to the mountain a little bit quicker.
And one of the reasons why we use version 1.0, because the devs caught that one fairly quickly and patched it out in later releases.
That's true. All right, and we'll see how the mountain is going to treat us today. We have dead rocks to deal with, and we have these boulders falling down the mountain.
And the old man gives us a speech with boulders falling everywhere.
So true.
Doesn't seem really concerned about his safety.
Pretty pleasant mountain ascent from Retro side. Chex getting tossed around a little bit. But not too bad.
Yeah, again, very good spin speed from both of them. We need a co-op NMG tournament. I know that's been catching on lately.
I bet we'll have one at some point.
Like, one cool thing there, you save yourself a mountain climb, because whoever does Hera, as soon as they pull the third pendant, the partner pulls the Master Sword, so then the player who just did Hera has the Master Sword and can pull Ether and doesn't have to make a separate trip for it.
That's true. Retro having a little bit of trouble with that switch. Manages to get it flipped.
Yeah, still got a comfortable lead after that Lanmo fight, but then again, Aga 1 is the great equalizer.
No leads are safe for sure until at least after Aga 1. It's where we have our biggest source of RNG-based time loss or time gain, depending on how you look at it, I guess.
And Hera does have these holes. If you misplace your bomb to jump over to the Moon Pearl chest, that can really cost you. Trolldorm beat Trolldorm, so you always risk taking a fall in the fight.
Yes, Hera's a very... Oh,
Boost. I didn't mean to illustrate that, retrommel. No, that's the double fall.
Yes, so that is probably the most costly fall that you can make in this dungeon. Falling on that bomb jump. Chex the spin set up.
Yeah, that's probably even worse than falling in the middle hole to Moldorm.
Oh, absolutely worse. Mm-hmm. It is worse than a mirror because it leaves you on the wrong side of the pegs.
Now imagine having to fight Moldorm with the fighter sword and no hammer.
Right? Alright, Retro take 2 on the bomb jump. Manages to get it this time. Meanwhile, Chex fighting Moldorm.
That's 4 hits down. Now we get the Enraged Storm. Avoids falling, that's the really important thing. Takes a little bit longer, but nice job with charging those dashes so that he wouldn't get knocked off.
Yep, and so Retro got the faster Lambo fight, but we can basically say Chex got the faster Moldorm fight.
Yeah.
Pretty near call it square.
Let's see, Retro and the Enraged Storm. There we go.
Nice slash. All right, I think that's going to put Chex about 25, maybe even 30 seconds ahead at this point. Do you want to talk about the tree pulls that the runners are doing, Drosy? Or if not, I can take it. The runners need 110 rupees to get into Palace of Darkness. We got to pay off a monkey who loves rupees. And so one of our ways of getting rupees in this run is to pull on trees, and they drop rupees. And the amount of rupees they drop depends on how many enemies that we've killed between tree pulls and whether or not we've taken damage. So the first time we pull them, they drop blues, and the second time they drop red 20s.
I wonder if either runner will grab the mushroom. I'm guessing not at this level of play.
I don't think either of our runners will grab the mushroom.
Most runners who don't do it to actually get the powder. They do it so that they can potentially fake powder during the GT climb.
Right, but even as a safety, I think it's not an amazing safety to grab because it does mess up a lot of your menus if you're used to doing attempts without it.
Yeah, so we saw from Chex you were talking about the tree pulls. That's the red rupees is the best tree pull if you defeat 4 or more enemies without taking any damage.
Yep. So yeah, both runners successfully dodged the mushroom.
But Chex is still 3 rupees short. Retro
Yes,
got some
grabbed
extra rupees earlier.
6 basically for free in this next sort of dungeon, Aga Tower. In one of the final rooms, the Circle of Pots room, we pick up some pots to kill a guard, and those pots have 6 rupees under them total. So we really just need 104 entering this dungeon.
Oh, okay, so we're all good then.
So both of our runners are good. Yep.
He didn't even wait for that.
Yeah, we see Chex not even
rupee.
hesitate when he sees a 20. Yeah, because the 6 coming up are freer than free. You basically have to walk through them anyway. Both of our runners entering Aga Tower with beams, which is very nice. On retro side, we'll see this room is a lot better with beams. Oh, well. You can use beams like that, certainly. But there's strats for several rooms in this dungeon where beams let you manipulate enemies in ways that get you through the rooms quicker. Here's the Spear Guards room on Chex's side. The beams there get the attention of the guards to line them up for the arrow shots.
And hey, we actually used our shield to deflect one of their spears.
Yeah, it's very true. So there's the 6 rupees that we're talking about. So now Chex has his 113.
Works easily enough, and Boomerang's a small key and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It still amazes me that you can boomerang over that barrier.
It is interesting, for sure.
Again, nice dash line in that last room for Chex. You have to be far enough left that you don't fall into the pit, but far enough right so that you don't bonk the stairs.
Mm-hmm. And then also using the beams to knock the guard off the catwalk. This dungeon with beams executed well, I think, is a really fun to watch dungeon.
Yeah, now something slightly less fun to watch, a rather long boss fight.
Yeah, so this is the Aghanim fight. He shoots these balls at us. There's either energy balls or whatever the blue balls are, fake energy balls. And so far we've just seen energy balls from Chex's side. But if they break open like that, then they do not get reflected back at him, and they do not damage him. And so the fight goes in these waves, ending with a lightning strike like this. The first attack after the lightning is always a good yellow ball. And then the rest of them are 50-50s.
And the lightning is always every 5th attack.
That's right. And I am not even trying to count blue balls. Chex has at least 4?
4, and I think Retro has 3 already. So, worst case, Chex gets 7. But he could also get an energy ball and end it here. Nope. Wow. Not going well for either of our runners, just the luck here.
Well, you love to see him be roughly even, so...
Okay, so Chex is getting 7, and Retro already has 6. The 15 dream is alive for Retro.
No way. He's gotten all blues on
yes.
the 50-50s? Oh my goodness.
And that then does it for Chex. 7 blue balls.
Yeah.
Okay, Retro finally isn't at risk of 15.
Retro in chat says he gets 8.
Yikes. Yep, there's the 8th. So,
Yeah.
Chex gains about 6 seconds in the process.
Based on the guaranteed energy ball after the lightning cycle, there's an interesting oddity with the math that 7 is actually more likely than 6. It's kind of weird to think about.
Yeah, that their local kind of maxima at 3,
exactly.
3, 7, and 11. Three is actually the most likely number.
Yes, 3 I think accounts for roughly a third of the entire probability space.
Yeah, I think 10 out of 32 if you want to be precise, but that's roughly a third.
I'll take it. So Check's picking up Kiki the monkey,
who immediately demands 10 rupees from us. Now, the thing here is you have to make sure not to get hit, or Kiki runs off and you have to bribe him with another 10 rupees.
It's not fun.
And Chex was tight for cash if he had to pay. Retro can afford an extra 10 rupees, though it still eats up time.
Mm-hmm. It would have been very unfun farming for rupees on Chex's side. At 3, not even 5 away. It's really rough.
Oh, and by the way, Fox, that is an awesome emote.
It sure is. So here in Palace of Darkness, it's a pretty interesting dungeon. We do a lot of grabbing keys and then quickly mirroring back to the front, and we just sort of go straight to the key we need and then mirror back. Go straight to the next key, mirror back. One of the nice things about this run is that every dungeon has its own sort of flavor or feel and how it's pathed. Some are very linear, some are sort of webbed like this.
Yeah. So we grab the big key, and then we mirror again, and then we go to Arena Bridge, get its small key, and then we can continue to the back. And then, of course, since we'll have used the small key to open up the back, we will need one more small key to get us to Helma. So after hammer yumping to get the hammer, we'll go grab the small key out of the dark maze.
That's right. Back with a good hammer jump.
MC Hammer, as the game tells us. Can't believe they didn't get a lawsuit for that.
Oof. Okay, so when Retroside messes up the hammer jump, leaves the room to reset the bridge, and we're taking one more try at it.
And notice that before pushing the statue, Chex grabbed a pop from the other side to get a heart under it so we could have sword beams here, because then you can just use the sword beams to hit the switch there.
Yeah, beams save time in this room, but they save even more time in the next room. Without them, we'd need to menu to boomerang or something similar.
Oh yeah, to hit the switch in the next room.
Yep. Okay, Retro gets his hammer. He's down 3 hearts total, which is still fine. He'll grab 3 hearts from the pots in the room before mimics, which is not as fast as grabbing just one, but he will also still have beams.
Too bad
Oh.
there's no quick swap in NMG, because otherwise you could quick swap to hammer and just hammer dash the pots.
That's true. Nice turtles from Chex. I think he could have gotten that far one without waiting for a second cycle, but playing it safe. So we see Chex entering the Helmosaur fight, trying to arm spin speed, which slightly extends the hitbox of his hammer, and waiting for Helmosaur to back off to actually arm it. He gets it, which is going to make it a lot easier to get the phase 2.
Oh, wow, that was really nice phase 2.
Really nice phase 2. You need either 4 hammer hits or 8 tempered sword slashes. So obviously the 4 hammer hits is preferable. But it is very difficult without spin speed.
Oh, Retro having a bit of trouble.
Yeah, just a small turtle party. Nothing crazy.
And we get our first really long lecture. Get used to it, there are 6 more.
So true.
I once
watch
timed
Retro's helmet fight.
I once timed how much of an NMG run you spend button mashing through text. The answer is about 6 minutes.
That sounds extremely right. And honestly, as someone who runs this game, it does not bother me. I like having a little bit of a break between segments to, sort of catch my breath and, sort of get back in the headspace, I guess, for running.
And just mash the button to make sure the text keeps moving.
Exactly. It's just a mindless mashing at that point. Like I honestly think that running vanilla preset or something with no long breaks would be pretty exhausting. Checks with a nice nudge on that tree, baits the bird just a little bit off to make that dash a little bit safer.
Yeah, so now we will get our last important movement item, and there's a nice hammer dash.
Yes.
But yeah, on our way back around, we are going to pick up the flute, which we will then activate. And since this mode does not allow for saving and quitting, the flute is really nice for moving around the map. So
yeah, the flute saves us quite a bit of time in the Dark World, or rather the second half of the speedrun. You can't use it in the Dark World; you always have to mirror out. But it saves us quite a bit of time, and it is in fact the only way that we have to get to Misery Mire. So, Chex with a nice quick warp here, and he gets the right pixel to do a
wow, that is very
first frame
nice.
dig. Yes, very nice.
Yeah, now we have to watch a little bit of the cutscene. Part of it played while we were picking up the flute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's one pixel or one I guess x coordinate pixel that you can be on to get both the quick warp and just a first frame dig without having to move any to readjust. And there's a nice visual cue for it, but it always feels good to get that pixel.
And now Chex will listen to the song of his people.
That's right. Retro picking up his shovel, which we'll use exactly once, hopefully.
Well, as soon as you get the flute, it replaces the shovel.
Retro also gets the quick warp and should get a really early dig as well. Yep, there we go. Well, I say hopefully because if you dig in the wrong spot, of course, you won't get the flute.
But hey, we've learned what spot to dig in.
That's right. Standing on the shoulders of giants and such. All right, heading to Thieves Town, our next dungeon. Check's entering now, right at 3 minutes, which is a really good overworld time. Pretty much optimal, I would say. The first part is just this one large sort of room where we open exactly one chest, which gives us the big key.
And it's so tantalizing when you enter. You can see it from the entrance. And you have to go all the way around. Yeah, this is kind of a deceptively long dungeon. Because it doesn't feel that big, but you have to go around and up across the attic and then down into the basement and all the way around
Check's
the basement.
got the perfect pixel for the Hellway, but got a bad RNG, had to cancel his dash.
Hey, at least he managed in time and still has his beams.
He did, yeah. Very good read. The Hellway room there with that conveyor and a bunch of enemies is really one of the largest sources of time variance in the dungeon. Like if you get it, just perfect 2 dashes, 1 in, 1 out, it can save a lot of time over a less perfect run through the room. So Chex bombs a hole in the attic wall, or floor rather. I always thought this dungeon was pretty interesting because it's really, I think, the one dungeon that we sort of solve any like environmental puzzle. We actually change the sort of topography of the
the sunlight.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, it's the only dungeon where you can walk into the boss room and not have a boss there.
That too, yeah.
And certainly your first few times playing the game, before you learn how everything's supposed to work, you're almost certainly going to walk into the boss room and wonder what's going on.
Yeah. I watched a lot of people's casual playthroughs of this game on Twitch. It's always fun. They're just like, what is this room for?
And in the light world, you get a hint in the thieves' hideout that the leader of the thieves was blind and he hated bright lights.
That's right. Mm-hmm. All right, so Check's working through the blind fight. Executes a clean blind script. Very good kill. That blind was very far to the left when it died.
Yeah. And it also makes this whole cutscene ever so slightly shorter because you don't have to sit through any health or magic refill.
Absolutely true.
Let's see how Retro does in the blind fight here. Hammering the head just because, why not? Stick to the script here. If you hit blind at the earliest possible opportunity, he will always do the same thing. And we see Chex also pick up the first of 2 300 rupee rewards that we need to pay a very greedy fish.
Yep, we'll need the flippers to do Swamp Palace. And they cost 500 rupees. But for now, Check's working on tempering his sword, rescuing a blacksmith.
And that costs 10 rupees, but we're not too worried about that money.
We're not too worried about that. But it is nice how the fact that we get the 2 300s means that we have 600, and there's no way that we're ever worrying about the 10.
This is one quality of life improvement I like in Rando, that you can just get the reward there. You don't... Because to get them to actually temper your sword, you have to leave this screen and come back.
That's right.
And I've seen some new runners get really confused about, when am I getting my sword back? How long is long enough for them to temper it for me?
Yep. All right. And so the temper sword is not strictly required to finish the game, but it does make the game faster. It makes the rest of the bosses really much easier to kill, and the kills quicker. And it
I'm
makes
disappointed
the
Chex didn't do any dashing in C-shaped house.
Which is perfectly fine.
I know. I'm just...
Yeah, I've seen people do 0 dashes, 1 dashes, and 6 dashes or whatever. But...
Right. Don't forget the infamous 7 dash C-shaped house.
Exactly.
There's a video somewhere.
Chex with a very clean mummy's room. This room can go really poorly, but handles it just fine. Coming up on our second bomb jump of the run here. Bomb jump here saves us a little bit of time.
Okay, we get 2 dashes from Retro in the C-shaped house. I'm happy now.
Very nice. That many Moldor vibing out. Oh boy. Okay, let's see. I think I missed something. Anyway, Chex entering...
Something dropped frames.
That's right. Okay. So Chex entering the back half of Stolewoods. And Retro takes care of the mummies just fine as well. Kind of a weird pattern there.
Yeah, Chex first dodged the fire snake and then got hit by it anyway. Interesting way to do that room, though it worked. With the mummies and the torches.
Alright, Retro gets his bomb jump.
I think Chex is spoiling something for us in the chat if he is requesting that his stream be dropped.
Oh, we're pulling out the fire rod. Oh no! Oh,
okay, that didn't look too bad.
That did not look too bad at all. I was expecting way worse.
Yeah, I was really worried for a moment from what Chex was saying in chat.
Yeah, this is comfy. So we had 5 spikes move during that fight, which is not great. You want probably 1 or 2 to move.
Great
in like
first
an average
room of the back for Retro.
Fight. Yes, and then good mummy's room. Retro at only 2.5 hearts, which means he can only afford to take 1 hit from Moth. So it's not the best shape to be in falling into the fight, but
yeah. Not only do we not get mail upgrades in any percent NMG, but the game doesn't expect you to have mail upgrades at this point.
That's true. Oof. Okay. So we're now in Oko from Moth, and okay.
You just commentators cursed him.
It happens. So, Retro is possibly the only person I know who actually practices this backup strat.
Oh, because he doesn't have enough of a magic meter to use the fire rod.
Exactly. And it's not looking extremely practiced right now.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Well, he has plenty of magic now, at least.
Yeah.
I'll take blame for that commentator's curse. Oh boy.
Tam's blaming Chex. Tam lost to Chex, so I suppose it is Chex's fault because, well, if Chex hadn't beaten Tam, then he wouldn't be playing in this.
There you go. Alright, so Retro makes it through the mummy hallway again, and dropping back into Moth Fight with significantly more health. And this is a fight as well. Oh no. Oh,
Phew.
okay. Oh,
Fun
okay.
fact, you can't spin attack Moth with the Tempered Sword because spin attack does the same amount of damage as a spike. Same damage class, I should say, and Moth is made immune to spike, so he's immune to a Tempered Spin as well.
That is true. Anyway, back on Chex's side, we're turning in 500 rupees to get flippers. This lets us swim.
Swimming is nice.
And we'll use the flippers to get to Ice Palace in the quickest way possible. Small miss menu, but nice read on Chex's side. Goes left to dodge the Azor that's popping out of the water. And really importantly, keeps beams entering Ice Palace. There's a lot of rooms in this dungeon where you really want beams. That was one of them.
Yeah, especially since you don't have the hook shot, which normally would be useful on a lot of these enemies, and the game expects you to have the hook shot, but it's faster for us to do Ice before Swamp.
That's right. Nice RNGs from the jellies on Chex's side. Sort of clear the way for his bomb.
This is also the only dungeon in any percent where we don't collect the big key.
That's true. And this bomb jump is why. Without this bomb jump, we'd need to hit the switch to put it on the other way, and then we need to hit the switch one more time later on, which would require the big key.
And also, it's one of 3 dungeons where the big chest item is strictly optional. But Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower are the other 2, and you're not getting to the boss in either of those without the big key.
That's true. So, Chex dropping in pretty soon to the Cold Stare fight. Really nice Ice Palace from Chex.
Yeah, he should make up some time here. I mean, all his splits have been very red after that horrible Aga. Same for Retro.
True.
So Retro also having sword beams here in ice, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. So the bomb bounced back, misthrown just a little bit, but places the second bomb in the little backup spot. Loses just a little bit of time on Retro side. And Chex going straight into Swamp Palace.
Well, I hope Tam's happy that Chex isn't doing Long Swamp.
This is, in fact, the shortest swamp possible.
So Chex
All right,
into
Retro
Swamp,
dropping in
Retro
pretty shortly for the
out
Cold
to
Stare
Cold
fight.
Stare.
Chex entering Swamp Palace proper.
Imagine not being able to hookshot these enemies.
Would be nice. Some small cleanup. Ooh, a little bit more cleanup than I thought on Retro side.
Yeah,
But-
that last puff got away from him a bit.
He survives, which is really the important part.
Yeah, that is a really bad fight to die in.
It's really bad.
Because with what we've said about you really don't pick up many keys, you don't get the big key, you're not going for the big chest. Your entire time in the dungeon effectively is spent getting to the boss, which means if you die, you are repeating the entire dungeon route.
It's true. Well, not even worse, but additionally, if you die in the second phase there, you have no magic because you spent your entire magic meter breaking Cold Stare's shell.
Oh.
And the first room in the dungeon is a kill room with a freeze-or.
Right, so you need magic before you can do anything.
Yep. So
and
you
of course,
quite literally can't do a single room if you die in that fight usually.
And of course, we don't pick up any bottles because that takes too long, so you can't just flute to 2 and get a green goo.
Yep. So, Chuck's heading around the left side of Swamp to grab his big key. And here we get the first point of route divergence from our runners. Retro grabbing the Ether Medallion from the mountain.
He clearly didn't listen to Tam's beautiful emote.
I don't believe Retro does Long Swamp. I could be... No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't. I think he grabs Ether here, and he grabs Ice Rod during the Turtle Rock split.
Oh, okay, so he's not going to do both.
Judging by his splits, I'm pretty sure that's... Oh, this is not good.
That is a bad place to get dead rock.
Yeah. But knows what to do, despawns it, and not the worst thing in the world, but not fun.
Yeah, we do need that ether because it's required to enter mire, so Chex will have to go up the mountain and get it after swamp.
That's right. Meanwhile, Chex grabbing his hook shot.
And as you mentioned, we will also need to grab the ice rod at some point. But we can do that. We can do that even after mire.
I believe Chex does. Right, coming up on the Argus fight, and this is one where, whereas the Cold Steer fight may have expected you to have Blue Mail, this fight expects you to have the Master Sword still, so we can take care of it very
Wow,
quickly
that is
compared to-
beautiful. A
that
zero
was a
cycle.
really good zero cycle Argus fight. Chex has got to be happy about that fight.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he'd quite get the zero cycle off, but he did. Because if you pull the last puff too late, Argus gets confused and tries to spin its puffs anyway, even though it doesn't have any.
That's right, yep.
It's like, oh, where did they go? What am I doing? I don't know.
It's going to be pretty near a gold swamp from Chex. 4 seconds off, which is, well, I guess it's not that near. But
Yeah. Well, he's
still.
he's complaining about his first room in swamp.
Ah,
That's
okay.
probably what cost him the gold.
Still a very solid swamp. And yeah, here Chex will float to the mountain.
I love how he
grab
takes
him.
the spin speed so that he can run into the duck to grab him. Or rather, hook speed, since we have the hook shot
Yep.
out.
Mm-hmm. No more spin speed for Chex today. Well, okay, never mind. Maybe just one more. Okay, never mind.
Chex
does-
deciding whether he wants the ice rod now or after Mire, but
Yep.
decides to go for the ice rod.
Yeah, I guess my split math wasn't good, and Chex does do sort of long mire shopping.
But you did notice that he on the flute select went from 8 to 6 and back to 8.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was.
And NMG doesn't allow for diver down, so we have to actually pull the statue and drain the water and all that fun stuff.
That's right.
I bet we don't even get a burp toss.
Probably not.
Not with it down there, certainly.
Mm-mm. All right, see what Meyer 2 has in store for Chex. Very good.
Wow,
And we
yeah,
have
very
the
nice.
Argus fight from Retro. No zero cycle today.
Yeah, he mishook shotted there, unfortunately.
But a comfy one cycle. And gets the quick kill on phase 2.
Very nice phase 2 quick kill, in fact. Cornering Argus like that. See, that's one of those rooms where, for a rando player, muscle memory is really hard because you want to light those torches in the room just to the left of the switch.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're just like screaming
chest,
to be lit, but all they get you is the compass.
Yep. Alright, no Spark Gamble from Chex today. Taking the safe path through the lobby.
And, wow, that burp is way too far out of the way to even think about tossing.
Getting our Pain of Samaria.
And we specifically did not get that small key when we were in the room earlier so that we could keep sword beams as long as possible.
Yep.
The game probably expects you to have the cape.
Absolutely.
Chex, by kicking up dust while laying the Samaria block there, preserves spooky action glitch, which we will see right there. And again in this room, and again in the next room. Really saves quite a bit of walking around. Because the game's just confused, so it pretends your fire rod shot hit quite a bit higher than it actually did. Trick here is to take damage from the slime so that you don't take damage from the eyes.
That's right. The eyes hit quite a bit harder than the slime does. Good fight from Chex.
So this is crystal number 6, so time to climb the mountain, do the extremely long dungeon of Turtle Rock. And then the even longer Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm. And Chex has all of the equipment he needs, so straight to Turtle Rock we go. Do need to deal with the mountain, of course. Not great RNG, but we'll handle by Chex. Chex opening up the portal to Turtle Rock, and meanwhile, Retro entering the Vitreous boss fight.
Let's see how well he handles this again. Nicely taking damage
Like
from the
it should
slime.
be a solid fight. Very good fight. So Turtle Rock, which Chex is in now, is a bunch of rooms. They're very difficult, and we ride these platforms between them. So not a lot of dashing between rooms, but just the rooms themselves are.
But we can
pretty
cheese
technical.
stuff like that. I'm sure the devs didn't expect you to hook shot one of the
Probably
torches
not.
and fall off the platform.
Probably not.
But it leads to the grand Zelda tradition of just brute forcing certain puzzles. I've heard that in Tears of the Kingdom, almost every puzzle can be brute forced if you're desperate enough.
I'm not sure if I solved any puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom the intended way. All right, Retro grabbing his ice rod. Now, well, after fluting away from here, we'll be all caught up on our errands. And so this pretty accurately shows, I guess, how much of a lead Chex has at this point. So fairly sizable. If Chex doesn't have any sort of major disasters here, he's in the driver's seat of this race.
Yeah, he's up. Well, he'll be up most of TR by the time Retro enters.
That's right. Chex really wants this fairy. The fairy gives him beams, which makes this room a little bit comfier. Oh, never mind. We are in uncharted ground here.
Yikes.
Okay. Everything's fine.
This is fine. Well, that's why we have 13 hearts by now.
That's right.
It's amazing how easy that platform maze is once you memorize it.
It really is. So using some well-timed dashes here, Chex bypasses the need for the mirror shield, which is in the big chest in this dungeon. As Drosy mentioned, we skip it.
Oh, that didn't work too well with.
No, it did not. I'm not sure if that
Trying to
was a
hit the switches.
missed item dash or just an early burst of the Smaria block, but it didn't quite work out for Chex. But a nice recovery.
And so Chex enters the boss room right as Retro heads downstairs from the chomps.
Okay.
Very nice one cycle there for the first two heads. Or the first two necks, I guess I should say.
And this should be a pretty clean fight for Chex. Retro gets his fairy.
Chex using that hook shot on while picking up the crystal was not very family friendly.
The menu to the hook shot there is mostly to let us have hook shot out to activate hook speed on this next screen. But it's a nice pause buffer to read what you should do after the spin as well.
And that is a nice hook speed to get off.
It really is, because otherwise you're looking at 3 dashes, which is much slower than just having dash speed and being able to do whatever you want. And so Chex entering Ganon's Tower, the final dungeon of the game. Definitely the hardest, most skill intensive.
Yeah, what do you?
Pretty much every item we have.
If things go reasonably well in here, what do you think we're looking at? A high 126?
That sounds about right. Mid to high. Mm-hmm.
And Retro should be able to still salvage a sub 130.
Should be, yep.
Chex just zipping around with the hook shot there.
Retro's cleaning up the Trinex fight.
Yeah, very nice one cycle there. Zero cycle, of course, only being possible with the gold sword.
So, Chex very shortly dropping in for the Ice Armos fights. We have refights of the 3 Light World dungeon bosses, the Armos Knights, the Lambos, and Moldorm in this dungeon. So this is the first of those refights. And they all have a twist. This time it's Armos on ice.
Now, the game does expect you to have silver arrows here, so...
Yes, and so really it's like kind of a showcase of like, look how much stronger you are now. Like you should be able to demolish these bosses.
Only any percent runners just make things hard for themselves.
Very true.
That said, we still have Fire Rod for Landmos too, so they go down pretty quickly.
Yes, they do. And Moldorm with Tempered Sword is pretty comfy as well.
Yeah. Landmo, the typical is 1 Tempered Spin and 5 Fire Rod shots, and you can one-cycle them.
Yep.
But first, the Gauntlet.
Yeah, so the Gauntlet is 5 kill rooms back to back to back to back to back. And they all have like conveyors or ice or spikes or some combination of the above.
Sometimes BMOS too, just
That's
for
true.
good measure. Sometimes BMOS and a Medusa.
All right, Chex saving the magic by using an arrow in the last room of the Gauntlet.
And perfect Landmo fight.
Very nice. More than enough magic left.
And the reason we're a bit worried about magic is this room.
That's right. We need magic to light these lamps. There is magic in this room, but Chex doesn't need to grab any of it because he saved the magic by using the arrow in the last room of the Gauntlet. So it just gets him through just a little bit quicker. Ordinarily, you would pick up 1 small magic in that final pot in that room.
And conveniently, Chex uses his last bomb here. Oh no!
That's not
No!
great.
How did that not?
I don't even know. I'll have to look at that later.
Okay.
Yeah, there
got
are
a backup
plenty of
strat.
bombs in the room prior. Unfortunately, Chex will be very careful this time around.
And we do get our final magic refill here.
Which key did Chex grab? Actually, I didn't notice. Did he grab torch key? I guess he must have. I guess he didn't grab the final one there.
Yeah. So we must have.
And I don't think I saw him get the mini helmet key, but
No, he
Maybe so.
definitely did not get the mini helmet key.
yeah.
And Retro's doing the climb on 1 key, so he will need the mini helmet key. No, wait a minute. Or he could grab the pre-Moldorm key.
Yes, which is, I would say, the more standard key to grab. So Chex fighting Aghanim 2. This is a variation on the first fight, but this time there's 3 of them. Only one of them is actually vulnerable to the balls, though.
Which, if you studied agonometry, you can reflect multiple balls and get him down in a very small number of cycles. Was that 3 for Chex
Retro-
or 4? Ooh, yeah, Retro, unfortunately.
Retro getting, yeah, and salvages the 2 cycle. Might want to
Yeah.
grab a small magic here. He does.
Yep. But yeah, he will need to grab magic again in the torches room.
That's right. Chex dropping into the Ganon fight. Gets the Trident spin. And that wraps up phase 1. Some comfy hookshot strats here, using the iframes that the hookshot affords. And phase 2 is over. Retro manages to light the torch.
This is another shot there, but we'll get the magic refill. It's fine.
That one is...
Ooh, Chex
fairly
turning
expensive.
Ganon blue. That's
It's-
unfortunate.
Just RNG. It's like a 25% chance, I think. But yeah, it's not a huge loss. I think that's going to throws Chex off of his cycle of triples. He just delays one cycle, or one cycle to get back on. Slightly early.
Well, what are we at? About 8 hits?
I believe so. Oh, a little bit
Nope.
more?
Okay, that was 10, so now we're at 12. And get your GGs in for Chex. He will get the high 126 as advertised.
That's right.
And he finishes with an official race time of 126.49 and is our Desert Palace Division champion.
Yeah, GG Chex. Retro cleans up the Aghanim 2 fight, meanwhile. And we'll be dropping into the Ganon fight shortly.
And we'll see if Chex wants to join for an interview or wait until Retro's done or what. Yeah, Retro very quickly on to phase 2 here. And this should be more than enough slashes to get to phase 3. It is interesting that even in the Japanese version, the credits are all in English.
It is, yeah.
Nice torch glitch there for Retro. That should be 9, unless I miscounted. And there we go.
And that will wrap it up for Retro.
And he finishes with an official race time of 129.33. So does salvage the sub 130.
Yep, GG for Retro as well.
And we are joined by our winner, Chexhuman. GG.
GG.
So, if only Aga had behaved.
It would have been a little nicer, yeah. But that's okay. Pretty interesting to have a difference of 6 seconds.
Yeah, right. That
7 and 8.
somehow misbehaved for both of you. I mean, 7 and higher is fairly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think I got below 3 during league my 3 weeks.
Jeez.
I could be wrong, but it seems
Haga
like it.
just hates you, in other words.
Basically.
And we are also joined by retrommel. GG.
Hey, thanks.
Hey, GG Retro.
Thanks.
So
GG Retro?
both of y'all were pretty close throughout most of the light world. Chex fell behind a bit during the Lamo fight, but then Retro fell behind during Hera, missed the bomb jump once, and kind of lost a bit of time there. And then going into Dark World, it was actually pretty close. And then Retro with the Death to Moth sort of put him behind for quite a bit. What were your thoughts around that time, Retro? I'm curious.
At that point, I was just trying to farm golds or have a good end game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Your Thieves Town was pretty good, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, actually, from Swamp until the end was the best I've had in a while. Even though it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, good late game for sure. Late game from both runners was pretty good. We had Chex with a slight mishap in GT with the bombable wall before Moldorm 2, but didn't lose too much time, all things considered, off of that.
Yeah, I transitioned back to the room before to get a pot bomb, then returned.
Yeah, so did you say that you were learning a new strat for that room?
Yeah, I'm doing more of the D-boost, dash through, or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. So did you like grab the bomb when you're trying to dash?
Yeah.
Or something similar?
Like, I heard
Okay.
the bomb get picked up, and I was like, oh, that can't... There's nothing wrong with that, right? And then I'm not going through the door, so...
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But yeah, of course, because I'm trying to dash, so I don't want to pick up the bomb.
Right, exactly. Yeah, good race overall. Very, very high level of play from both of you guys. So, congrats on a really good league season. Do you have any thoughts about the run to share, Chex?
I think it's a little annoying to have, a plus 155 run, but that's okay. A lot of it was Aghanim. A lot of it was learning from issues with new strats, including Peg Maze. So those are things that I'm working on. So because they're fresh, they'll be more likely to get wrong. So that's all good. So not my best run ever, but that's totally okay. So all in all, feeling pretty okay about that.
Yeah, it makes sense. What's your new strat or the change that you're making in Peg Maze to cause what happened tonight?
I try to do an item dash there now, but before I used a green ham strat that involved picking up a pot bomb. So I had done that for many years. So maybe haven't got comfortable with the new thing yet, but
Gotcha. Makes
we'll
sense.
see.
And then Retro, any thoughts on today's run or league in general from you?
This is actually my first NMG run since my last race. I just wanted to clutch out the sub 90 after failed hammer jump and then 2 deaths in skull. And I got 8 blue balls. That was super annoying.
Yeah, it definitely, it's one of those things where at the end of these runs, you look back and point to a couple huge mistakes and be like, hey, if it wasn't for those huge mistakes, I actually played the rest pretty well. And sometimes just looking at that, it can mindset shift, I think, can be really, really good looking back. But overall, lots of really good bright spots in this race. There were some good back and forths. It was a really fun race to watch. Thank you for joining.
GG's, Chex.
GG's. Good racing, you Retro.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever raced you, so.
Yeah.
Drossi, do you have any final thoughts or final words for our racers?
I think I'm good. GG to both of you. Nice job getting this far. Retro, 2-1. Hope that still feels nice to finish that way.
Yeah.
And Chex, I don't know if you've picked out your charity yet.
I haven't, but I'm thinking arts and humanities. We'll see. No promises, but I'll think about it.
Sounds good. All right, and then with that, I think we can give the mic up. Thank you for the restream, and thank you to the viewers for watching.
Thanks, guys. GG's to Chex and Retro. Thanks to Drossi and Concision for the comms. It's a good race to finish off the Desert Palace division. We're going to get out of here. We're going to raid Owase. He's playing some more 80% NMG at the moment. We can wish him luck, and I'll see you guys around.